Let's play some hockey tonight.
Energetic, passionate, and savvy. Gouche Live. Brought to you by the good people at the Hockey News and Sports Illustrated. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the Gouche.
Yes, it is. I am here at the bottom line, 22 Front Street, a slap shot away from the Hockey Hall of Fame. And what's really cool about this, I've got a Winnipegger coming up. I just saw Darren Boyko. Darren Boyko. I know Gene will know that name. Unbelievable that we're here at the bottom line. I was just outside. It is hot. No, we're talking hot. And, of course, my producer's right beside me. I'll be bringing him up in a second, but I want to thank the Hockey News, as usual, to be presenting this show along with Wayne Cowley from the bottom line. But I'll tell you what, it is hockey. Yes, we are in the middle of August, and we're talking hockey. It's 24/7 here at Gouche Live, so make sure you check it out every Monday, Wednesday, and, of course, Friday. But before I bring up our guest in Edmonton, here is the producer, Jordan LaRoche.
Hey, Gooch.
Jordan, what's going on?
I'm excited. It's Christmas in July. I mean, the World Juniors.
It's August.
Sorry, August. That's what I meant to say.
Hey, listen, I got to tell you right now, the traffic in Toronto,
Yeah.
I don't think Gene has ever experienced the type of traffic we saw today. I was at Yonge and King for 20 minutes. 24 times the green light changed, and I didn't move.
Yeah, I mean, we have Motley Crue and Def Leppard down at
Motley Crue. You're going, aren't you?
No, but I live right next to the Rogers Center. I was walking by it all. It's nuts the amount of people out there.
Just open the window
at like 3:00 on a Monday.
Hey, listen, your father's joined us all the way from Thailand. John, thank God you're there. The traffic here is almost like being downtown in Beijing at rush hour. That's pretty bad too.
Not much compares to Bangkok traffic.
That's okay. We'll give it that. All right, listen. Let's talk really quickly just before we bring Gene up. I know he's on a very short rope. We'll be talking to James Murphy. He's coming up, and we're going to talk about obviously the Bergeron and of course Krejci. We'll get all that information. But how excited are you about Hockey Canada's decision to host this event this week? It starts tomorrow.
Yep. I mean, it's just cool to kind of have it. I mean, back in Edmonton as it's supposed to be. Last Christmas, so it's kind of cool that they let them do it again. But again, like I said earlier, it's just we have exciting hockey, a big international tournament happening in the middle of the summer. Which I mean, for you and me, I were probably just deprived of it. I mean, it's just something to just kind of keep us going a little bit.
The other night there wasn't even a Blue Jays game. I couldn't fall asleep. There was nothing to watch. But now I got a chance to watch the Hlinka Gretzky tournament. That was spectacular. Of course, yeah. Canada just absolutely dominated, and then of course beat Sweden. Here he is, ladies and gentlemen, all the way from Edmonton, Alberta, Gene Principe.
Hey guys, how are you? Speaking of talking to a motley crew, nice to be with you two.
Hey, listen, a couple of months ago when we had you on, you looked like Motley Crue.
Yeah.
What's going on with the hair?
Yeah, I finally got it cut. We raised some money for charity here in Edmonton, and it worked out great. It was a win-win. I look at least a bit better, and we got some money raised for kids, who need some help, a little bit of a bump when things aren't going so well in their life. So it was fantastic. The only problem was we cut it live on TV. And it's all great. And then it's 1-0, 2-0, 3-0, 4-0 for Minnesota. And everyone's like, just cut the hair and get it done with. Yeah. We got to get back to the hockey game. So great to be with you guys. And it does feel like Christmas, even though it's I think it's 28 degrees or 27 degrees Celsius in Edmonton.
A little hotter here.
Yeah.
I imagine. And more humid. Stupid. Yeah, and more humid.
Hey, listen, Gino, obviously the Hlinka Gretzky tournament just ended in Red Deer. Huge success. It's got to be really exciting in Alberta to have not only the Hlinka Gretzky Cup, but also now the World Juniors. We're not going to get into any of the negative stuff that's going on with the Hockey Canada and stay focused on a great tournament, because I want to ask you this question right off the bat. Because of all this stuff that's been going on in the past, I believe a lot of these players, the Connor McDavid, should be Connor McDavid.
Yeah.
Obviously, the Bedard, the Johnson, these guys are going to be ultra focused. What's the feeling like right now in Edmonton with the World Juniors getting ready to take its stage in the front of hockey?
Well, I think it's one of those times, because it is August, you just have to gently remind people that, hey, I know it's cabin season. I know it's beach season. I know it's be near the water season, go on holiday season, but it's also hockey season. Now, the Hlinka Gretzky Cup is normally played at this time of the year, so that's a natural fit. People are expecting it, waiting for it. The World Juniors, no, it's not a natural fit, but I look at it as it might take. Usually, the World Juniors start at 100 miles an hour and just kind of continue to excel from there. I think this one might be more starting at 60, but you'll catch up to 100 quick, and then it'll continue on. So it's just a matter of getting everybody sort of embracing not just what's happening, but when it's happening, and understanding that it's unbelievable hockey. It's just happening at a different time of year than we're accustomed to.
Hey, listen, Oiler fans, we're talking to Gene Principe in Edmonton, right? Are you a Connor McDavid fan? Look at that. He's wearing a Con. Get over here. Come on over here. Come on here.
Oh, the guy over there. Yeah.
Come on over here. This is Gene Principe. He calls all the Edmonton Oiler games. What do you think of that? Look at what he's wearing.
Hey, who's my new buddy there?
There it
What's
is.
his name?
Connor.
Oh, Connor. Yeah, sure.
There you
Connor.
go. How much did you pay him to say that?
Hey, we got another young. Come here for a sec, quickly. Look at this one. You're going to love this one right here. Yes, look at this. What's your name? Austin's a little confused. You know why? Because he's got a Winnipeg Jets hat. We're not going to go into that tonight. And a Toronto Maple Leaf
oh, wow. Austin. Yeah, another Austin. Connor,
Amelia.
Austin. Amelia. Okay. Not
all
named
brothers
after
and sisters. How cool is that?
That's great. I hope they're enjoying Toronto.
Were you at the Hall of Fame?
Yeah.
How cool was it?
It was cool.
Did you see my name in it? Kind of confusing. All right, kids. Thank you for coming. You having a good time?
Yeah.
Are you from Toronto?
No, we're originally from BC, but then we moved to Winnipeg.
Are you living in Winnipeg now?
Yeah.
I'm from Winnipeg. I'll be there. I'm going to get you. I'm there next week.
Yeah, I was there last week.
Slapshot golf tournament's there next week,
Yeah.
and I'm there. Give your email address. Okay. How great is that? Okay, Gino, sorry about that. That was fantastic. I wanted to ask you, Jordan, as we get into Gene and talk about hockey in obviously August. It's really tough for these kids to maybe get ready for it. I know, Gene, you're going to give us a little bit of update on some of the players that are maybe not coming. How do you think it is for them? Obviously, it's every, Gene, it's every Christmas. Yeah. Now all of a sudden it's in a whole other time in the regular schedule. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, for a player, when you're going into a big tournament like this, I mean, there's always be questions about, playing safe or, just trying not to get hurt. And for some of these guys who are trying to make the next big step in their career, going from major junior or college for that matter, to try and make it to pro hockey, whether that's the NHL or AHL, there's going to be a lot of risk involved. I just hope that we can see these guys really come out and just play a full tournament to the highest extent at the highest level, which is all you can really ask for.
Hey, Gino, on that note, of course, what have you heard? Are the players excited? Obviously, the Connor Bedard's of the world, they know that they're on the world stage. What about other players? Are they all excited about taking part? Or are they maybe just what you just said? Are they waiting and saying, hang on a sec here, I've turned it down because I want to get ready for pro camp?
Yeah, no, you guys covered it both. When it comes to pro camps, I look at some Edmonton Oil Kings who are first round picks, and Jake Neighbors and Dylan Gunther, Caden Gooley, the captain, not there. Xavier Bourgault, an Edmonton Oiler first round pick who was just here for a development camp. Between the draft being a little later than development camps, these guys have their schedule, and many of them are scheduled to go to NHL training camp. So it's a real tough decision. I will say this, though, guys. I think that every World Junior tournament that we go into, we certainly are looking at the back of the jerseys and the names on the back of the jerseys. But I think we all agree as the tournament progresses, we start focusing on what's in the front and the Maple Leaf, and it's Canada versus pick a country. So I'm not worried about it at all. I think once the tournament's actually underway and they start playing, Wednesday and Thursday, people won't be too worried about who's not there. They'll just focus on who's there. And ticket sales are, like the weather, warming up. It's just different. It's just a matter of getting used to something. You know how sometimes you'll see somebody and kind of go, geez, I kind of know that person, but they're not in the right place. I usually see them at the rink, or I see them at the movie theater, or I see them at the restaurant they work at around. So I that's how I would kind of paraphrase what's going on here. We know the game. We know these kids. We know it's the World Junior Hockey
Yeah.
Tournament. We just have to get used to the fact it's not December going into January. Instead, it's a couple of weeks in August.
Hey, we're live here at the bottom line. We've got live studio audience, of course,
Yeah.
helping us out. Wayne's obviously showing off the new studio here. Gene, I can't wait to get you here in Toronto. Obviously, being in Edmonton, it's time to get over here. But certainly, we're having a great time here. Oh my God, we're celebrities here, Gino. We've got a fan all the way from Sheffield Steelers, and
Wow.
we're going to turn around and who's on the back of that jersey? Anybody? I can't see from this far. Wayne Cowley played over in England, so he thinks he's an international superstar. So we've been very blessed to have people join us. Great to see you. Enjoy. All right, so Gino, I know you got to get going. I wanted to ask you one more question when we talk about it. The Mason McTavish, of course, a family name you know very well, has been named captain. The way the tournament ended last year was kind of, a different situation. And you mentioned a great comment from your father, John LaRoche, all the way from Thailand, saying it's hockey, shake off the noise and focus. Couldn't be more excited.
Well said,
Is that what's going on in Edmonton right at this moment? They don't, as you mentioned, don't care about the names. It's just the fact that the world has come center stage again in Edmonton. How's the city taking it? I know you say tickets are warming up or ticket sales are warming up. How's the overall atmosphere?
Oh, it's great. I mean, it's just a matter of getting used to. I think the most important thing is that they start playing. I also they just had training camp in Red Deer, and now they're literally making their way to Edmonton. They'll have a pre-tournament game, and then they'll get going for real. And people, it's just a different. The other thing too is, listen, when it's minus 30, you're more apt to be inside and tuned into the NHL, and for those couple of weeks, the World Juniors. In August, people have different things on their minds, but I don't see it being a problem. I know that people are excited about having the tournament in Edmonton. It was an unfortunate stop when it happened, or was hoping to happen this past end of 2021, start of 2022, and it makes sense to do it. And I think August is under all the circumstance, it's the best month. You've got NHL going till the end of June. July for sure is holiday season for majority of people. So August is the right time to do it. And I love the fact that Connor Bedard is here, shows his commitment and shows his love. I mean, I met him one time, and there's an excitement about this young man. I'm not going to say quite like Connor McDavid yet, but I'm also not going to say it's not going to continue to grow. So if there's one player that everyone is really excited to watch, it's him, Mason McTavish. I mean, this kid's going to be a really, really good NHL player. And so it's great that he's going to be leading the way. So everything will be fine. It's just a matter of getting your mindset in the hockey mindset, when usually this is the time of year where you're just kind of prepping for hockey. Now you got to dive right in.
Hey, listen, Gino, we're going to let you go, but I know that a goaltender wants to ask you the question. We're going to get you on, if you don't mind, and talk about the Edmonton Oilers and all the excitement. But there is one question. It doesn't have to be a long answer, because I know you got to get going, but I know Jordan wants to ask it.
How's the initial reception from Jack Campbell been? I mean, us in Toronto, we kind of kicked him to the curbside a little bit here, but how are things in Edmonton treating him?
You know what, Jordan? Great. People were excited when he signed. I didn't see anything negative about the term, about the AAV. I haven't seen anything about him. I mean, from what I understand, he might be just as nice as Zach Hyman, and Zach's a really nice guy who highly recommends Jack, not only as a goaltender but as a person. And I think everybody here feels like this is not so much the missing piece, because I thought Mike Smith did a real nice job.
He did very good,
in a really tough run against some really good teams. So it's not about, we had to have this guy. It's just someone they think can give them another bit of an edge as they move forward to trying to win the Stanley Cup. So it's a lot of excitement, and I look forward to meeting Jack. I've talked to him, interviewed him, but never met him in person. With COVID starting to ease up a bit, hopefully we'll get a chance to do that come training camp.
How much did Zach Hyman have in influencing him to come to Edmonton?
I think, when people will look at numbers a lot, but I think Jack could have done well in other cities. So I think Zach's selling of it. Zach had a wonderful year with the Oilers. And listen, when you've got Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl in your back pocket, your front pocket, wherever you want to put them, that is, and you go to the conference final, you add it all up. And if you're Jack Campbell, you're thinking, well, why wouldn't I? And as Connor McDavid said, if you can be the starting goalie in Toronto, in the NHL, you can be the starting goalie anywhere. So Edmonton is a darn good choice for Campbell and Edmonton.
And I think it's a really good opportunity for Campbell to even grow with his team. I mean, they got a good amount of term with him there, so he got to grow. And as his team gets better, Jack Campbell could be their rock for a long time.
Hey, but how cool it is! Your goaltender, you're looking out at center ice. You had Matthews and Marner, and now all of a sudden you're looking up and you got Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. Yeah. Hey, listen, there's still a small possibility the Gouche may show up in Edmonton. If I do, I can't wait to see you. I love you, buddy. You are one of my biggest fans. I'm one of your biggest fans.
Yeah, I agree.
And I still remember us at Rat River getting ready to hit the golf ball, and our friend Keith Kachuk showed up with that beer belly, and you both of us looked at each. He plays in the NHL.
Yeah, that's fine. I saw Keith in the playoffs, and he has very good memories of Winnipeg and his time there as a young man. So lots going on with Kachucks. Maybe we'll save that for another day when we talk Edmonton, Calgary, and Battle of Alberta.
We can't wait to talk to you, Gino.
Okay, boys, take care.
Have a good one.
You too.
Hey, he's always a pleasure to be with. I know James Murphy's just waiting to pop up. I love Gene Principe. Like, I got to tell you, he's one of my favorite. Hello and good morning, Clive Conley, all the way in Melbourne, of course. Over here in Canada, I can tell you right now, Clive, it is hot, like really hot. We're sweating. So we're just waiting for James to join us. I know David Stubb has just jumped in and said, hey, I hope for Oiler fans and Jack that he's the guy, but I just don't see him being enough to push them to the next level. All right, Jordan, you're a goaltender. Davey Stubbs is a goaltender. He knows his stuff. Yeah. You know your stuff.
I think it really comes down to which Jack Campbell we get, and whether it's the Campbell that we consider the Vezina nominee at certain points throughout this year, or
and if he starts the way he started with the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yeah, and you have that side too. So I think Campbell, if he comes in and just kind of just focus on what he has to do, I think he'll be fine. I just don't know if it's a franchise-changing move, but I think it's a step in the right direction.
Oh, he's going to help him. We'll ask James Murphy that in a second. If you don't mind, Clive Conley, 2 degrees in Melbourne.
Must be nice.
Yeah, and look at this one. Matthew Miser all the way from Gouche, Argentina. Bonds are frozen here, Gouche. Come on down and cool off. Listen, Matthew, we are working on a concept to come down there. Thank you for being a big fan of ours. We're a big fan of yours. And, of course, Clive Conley, always pleasure having you join us on the show. All right, this guy, I love Gino. Gino's a good – James just steps it up a little bit with enthusiasm. Gino's like that really calm, cool, collected veteran. James is that all pea and vinegar. Here he is, James Murphy.
What's going on, guys?
How is that description of you?
I like it. I told you got to be my agent, Gouche.
Hey,
I got to start giving you commission for all these pump ups you give me. You know,
you listen. Both Jordan and I have said we'd love you to be here live because you just.
Oh, we're gonna make it happen, boys.
I know you are. Hey, listen. Obviously, you've been to hear us talk a little bit. I know you were waiting to come on. You were cooking. How's the craft dinner doing?
Craft dinner, come on, man. I got a good dinner going, man. We got some one of my favorites my mom taught me. She used to do it for all the Patriots games. Take some chicken thighs and wraps them in bacon. Delicious.
Yeah, that's great.
Delicious.
Can you UPS some of that?
Yeah. I'll make a few when I come up and stay with you and your wonderful wife.
Well, you're more than welcome anytime. We're looking forward to it. Hey, listen, of course, John's piping in, of course. Gene and Jimmy, great lineup. I honestly got to say, obviously, I don't know if you've met Gene Principe. I met him obviously in Winnipeg. He's been a huge supporter of the Gouche. He's done golf tournaments for me. He was part of the CKND with Joe Pascucci. I have nothing but respect and time for him. He does such a great job over in Edmonton.
Oh, he's a pro. He's a pro's pro, man. I know Gene. I've met him a couple times during the playoffs, because what will happen is sometimes if the Oilers are done, which they tend to be sometimes, and the Bruins are still going, or another team, they just send, extra reporters on the road to cover the big series. So bumped into him, had a couple pops with him in some pubs across North America. And I've always liked him every time I've met him. And like I said, he's one of the best in our business.
Okay, listen, a couple of comments coming through all my little Matthew Meisner popping in and say, I'll have to give you a call soon, Gooch, so I can say Uesha properly. How do you say it?
I think it's Ushuaia.
Okay.
Thanks. And it's not even a Russian name, and I'm screwing up. And this other one, Dave Stubbs, look at this compliment. Chicken and bacon sounds better than soupy in Edmonton.
That Dave Stubbs, the writer from Montreal, NHL.com?
No. He's a goaltender here. He's here at the Hockey Hall of Fame. I love Stubbsy. We got to get him on with those type of comments. And, of course, don't forget, you've got a new show tomorrow called The Practice Squad. James, he's doing a great show on the NFL. I know that you follow the Patriots. Awesome. One day you got to get on and show your NFL experience.
For sure. Well, we'd love to have you on, Jimmy.
You guys were just, I was watching you, and like you said, it's like Christmas, and I almost said July today too, Jordan. So don't worry. Christmas in August though, with an international hockey tournament like the World Juniors. But then I forget we got preseason football starting up, and before we know it's going to be the season opener. It's all this stuff going on at once, man. It's a great time to be a sports fan. Go
Vikes, go! All right, listen. Let's get into. Obviously, there's some signings that are very important to you. And I want to hear it. Everybody's excited about the Patrice Bergeron, the David Krejci deal. You had mentioned a very good deal for through the middle. I want to hear it from you, James, because you're at the games. You're in the scrums. What does this mean for Boston? Should a Boston fan, be really excited or, kind of scratching their head?
Well, and don't forget, too, they also avoided arbitration with Pavel Zacha. Don Sweeney was just a madman today. I don't know what's going on. He woke up. He said, screw this. I'm getting everything done today. And that's what he did. So he signs Bergeron, then Krejci, and then Zacha, all within 6 hours, and turned my day upside down. It's okay, though. Rather be busy than not. And, I think it's great news for the Bruins fans. I don't think this makes them a Stanley Cup contender automatically. I think there's still one or two players away from that. I also think, and we've discussed this numerous times on here, guys, is, they've got some big obstacles to overcome when they start the season. They're going to be without Matt Grizzlick until the end of October, and they're going to be without Brad Marchand and Charlie McAvoy until the end of November. So this is going to be a tough challenge for them. If they hadn't signed Bergeron and Krejci, they could have easily been well out of the playoff race by American Thanksgiving. I still think they're going to be right on the precipice of it, either just barely in or just barely out. But I think this gets them the hunt. I still think this team, though, I don't see them being a legit cup contender. I think they're a playoff contender, and they could finish anywhere from 6 to 10, depending on health and just the way the rest of the division goes, which in my eyes, guys, and I think you'd all agree, is a much improved Atlantic division.
No question. And I love having James on. I need to get the dictionary out. Crespices. What was that for a word? Precipice. Keep it down to 2 syllables for the Gooch. I got the grade 12 by passing grade 6 twice. All right, let's get into it. Obviously, it's going to be a great start to the season. We're going to have you on and break it all down. Mm-hmm. Obviously, with the Montreal Canadiens, you mentioned that division has really changed. We'll get into that a little bit later as the season goes along. But it is the World Hockey Championships, and you being down in the United States, I do want to talk a little bit about the World Juniors and what Team USA looks like. We had Gene. We talked a little bit about Team Canada. Obviously, the grouping is Slovakia, Canada, Finland, Czechia, and Latvia. But the U.S. has a pretty tough division with Sweden, Switzerland. Germany is always a solid addition, and Austria is not a bad organization. What's going on with Team USA?
Well, look, I think they're solid pretty much throughout their lineup. I think it is a very tough division that they're in. I don't think there's any guarantees of how far this team goes, but I think they've got a solid team. I like them up front. I like their D. It's pretty obviously, you got Luke Hughes back there, a very solid player. You get Brock Faber. But I think the big question mark, guys, is you look at their goaltending right now, and they have 3 goalies who are undrafted. Usually you have at least one drafted goalie there, but that's not the case for the USA men's hockey team. All these players not eligible up until now to go in the NHL draft. So I think that's the biggest question mark with them is their goaltending going in. But look, I look at Canada, guys, and I mean, to me, it's the team to beat. No, and I know that's easy to say, but they really are. You look at what they've got there, and even though they lost some really key players, I know Gene mentioned Caden Gooley there, who's obviously I know well with a Montreal Canadiens pick. I still think they're stacked and they're the team to beat.
Hey, James, I'll ask you both this question. You as a player getting to represent your country before you go in the National Hockey League, Gene did tell me that some of the players had kind of backed off a little bit. And I think you even mentioned in your comments that they want to get ready to make the National Hockey League. But you get a chance, and maybe not often, to represent your country at this prestigious cup. Is that a mistake not joining? First you, Jordan, and then I'd like to hear your comment, James.
I think it really depends on the situation. If you look at a guy like Shane Wright, for example, the fourth overall pick, who could have played in this tournament again, but granted, he signed that contract, so there are some legal obligations there. But all in all, I think it depends on the person. It depends on where they are in their lives. But I don't think it's a mistake by any means. I think there's no wrong answer, no right answer in this situation.
Hey, but for Team USA, James, Logan Cooley obviously hasn't signed yet with Arizona. Arizona really wanted this kid. They got him. He's going to be playing for the Team USA. Talk to us a little bit about what Jordan just said. You're right. Every player is an individual decision. But God, if you get a chance to play for your country at the World Juniors, can't see why you want to miss that.
Well, I mean, look, I think right now, I think Jordan nailed it there. I mean, it is an individual situation, but I heard you talking with Gene as well. These kids don't get much time off. All right. And I'm not trying to say like we should really feel bad for them or anything, but they're human beings. They're humans. Their bodies are human. They're not machines. And we forget that sometimes. And you throw this smack dab in the middle, like right after, like Gene said, after development camp. And then you're going to just go straight from here. Likely, if you're already drafted, you're going to go straight to rookie camp with the respective NHL teams. Then maybe you make the team into training camp. Maybe even you make the team out of training camp and you're in an NHL season, or you're going to the AHL, or you're going back to juniors. I mean, they need a break here and there. And some of these guys are still, nagging injuries from back in December that they suffered. And battled throughout their junior seasons or their college seasons. I get it. I mean, I'd love to see as much skill as we can there, but I don't think it has anything with them not having pride or anything in their country. I mean, they know what a great opportunity this is, but these guys are human beings.
Jordan, before you ask a question, I know you want to talk about, obviously, David Stubbs come up with a comment about one of the defensemen for the United States. I want to ask you, obviously, James, you talked about the goaltending situation for the United States. None of them drafted. If you're a goaltender coming into this tournament, maybe that could be an advantage, that you have an opportunity to show all these scouts, hey, I was kind of overlooked. Here I am. I'm going to play at the highest level.
Yeah, and being in that situation where you don't know, I think the Team USA, I believe that they've announced the starter for tomorrow. Is that right, Jimmy?
Yes.
Yeah. So but regardless, you have three very hungry guys in that room who all want to kind of make a name for themselves, and I mean they're watching every move that the other goalies make. If one guy goes out and just doesn't play well, the next guy he's going to have that exact same opportunity to really make a name for himself. So we've seen guys draft stocks rise and fall through the World Juniors. So again, this is another opportunity for these guys to really show what they can do on a much, much bigger stage.
Hey, James, I know you got to get going. You got to get give us that comment. Then I got one last question for you before you go. Comment on that.
I just wanted to agree with Jordan tremendously there, but I also think too, Jordan, they're also, one thing we don't think about too, like we said, a lot of these guys are drafted, right? This is also a chance, I think, maybe to change the mind of management and coaching staffs for the NHL teams that they belong to heading into camp. Right now it's we're getting into mid-August, right? And a lot of times these coaches are starting to have their meetings. They're starting to go back and forth on Zoom calls and say, what rookies you think are going to make it out of camp? What guys are we focused on to give a chance to maybe surprising it? Who knows? Maybe that list changes right now because of what happens in this tournament. So in that respect, the timing could really help some of these guys.
Hey, listen, James, just before you go, I know there was a question that came through from David Stubbs. It was about him, a defenseman that's for the Team USA, Hudson. What do you know about that situation?
Yeah, I was surprised at that too, but I think it might have almost been, from what I hear, it was a bit mutual. I don't think it was necessarily a typical cut. I think he kind of said, look, if you guys don't want me, your stats, you got enough people, don't worry about it. I can use the time off. So I don't think, it's going to crush the kid's confidence, anything. I think he's fine. And look, I know for a fact that he turned a lot of heads at Canadians development camp. A lot of people comparing him already to Torrey Krug. Same size, nice, slick puck moving D-man. So that's some high praise for a kid that young.
Hey, James, I know we're going to get you on next week. We're going to be talking a lot more, not only about the World Juniors, but also about the Boston Bruins. Go make sure you didn't burn the craft dinner.
I will.
It's tough burning boiling water, isn't it?
No.
I've done it.
So
you're going to be surprised, my man. I'm a good chef. Don't you worry. Have a good one.
I'm joking. I can't wait to eat your steak. See you later.
Oh, yeah.
See you,
I make you a nice Italian meal like my grandma taught me, all right?
I love it.
Yeah. Have a good one, buddy.
Yeah, but see you, buddy. What a show. James Murphy, Gene Principe. You cannot ask for better. And, of course, Stubbsy jumping in and talking. Thanks for that. Happy to hear. All right, as we wrap the show up, what a great show. What a great opportunity to be able to talk. We didn't get deep into the World Juniors yet. We will over this next couple of days. Obviously, as it starts tomorrow, we're going to see some of these questions answered. But before we go, let's talk about some of the players for Team Canada. Kent Johnson, what a great player. Obviously, he played at the Olympics. We saw what he was going to do last juniors in December. Let's talk about him a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, he actually gone to 9 games with the Columbus Blue Jackets this year, which is really exciting to see.
I was excited as he may get to play with those two guys, that Liney and what's his name? Goudreau.
And he is a center, so he fits right into that line there. But I mean, 37 points in 32 games with a very, very, very good Michigan team last year. I expect him to be very much like Owen Power, and how we saw there's another guy from Michigan that came into the league. I'm drawing a blank on his name right now, but a guy like Owen Powers, and how he kind of seamlessly transitioned to the NHL game. We've seen a couple guys from Michigan be able to do that now. So I think Ken Johnson just fits in with the rest of those guys and has a seamless transition to the NHL.
All right. Obviously for you, a very concerning player, Brennan Othman, I guess is his name. Drafted first round by the Rangers in 2021. Your thoughts on this kid?
I've been watching him a lot this year, the last year and a bit. But I mean, he has a great chance to make the Rangers team next season, and this is a big opportunity for him to show that he can lead this team, be a leader on this team offensively. I mean, look at this guy; he had 97 points in 66 games with the Flint Firebirds in the OHL last season. That those are very good numbers. They're not quite the Mitch Marner, McDavid numbers, but they're not too far off. So for Othman, again, it's another chance for him to really stand out in this tournament and maybe make the NHL next season.
I don't have to say much about this guy, Connor Bedard, 100 points in 62 games with the Regina Pats. I truly believe there's going to be a lot of teams tanking this year to see if they have the opportunity to maybe get this player as a first round pick. Is he first overall right now? Is there any question about it?
To me, yes. I have some people out there that express some doubts, and a lot of people kind of go back to the size argument. I mean, we saw Neil Yakupov get drafted first overall as an undersized guy, never really kind of got into the NHL game, just physically couldn't do it. A lot of people are kind of raising the same kind of concerns with Bedard. Personally, I think he's probably fine.
The NHL's changed, though, Jordan. Yeah. We can admit that smaller players can play at this level, no question.
And also, I think with Yakupov coming over from Russia, playing on the international ice, coming to bigger players on a smaller ice, he wasn't ready. Yeah, there's more of a difference there than there is for Bedard coming out of the dub.
Well, he's already been targeted and knowing what he's up against. Final guy, obviously, for Team Canada, we talked a little bit about with Gene Principe, Mason McTavish. What a true leader. We've seen him on and off the ice command himself with a lot of maturity. Obviously, the family name doesn't hurt him. 40 points in 24 games with Hamilton. They did lose. I had a chance to talk to Jay McKee, who's their head coach, said this guy is going to be a natural in the National Hockey League. But first, he's got a very important task. He's got to lead as the captain, Team Canada. And there's pressure on Team Canada. Yeah. Will he be able to take on that pressure?
And I mean, coming off a very good year in the OHL, he was hurt for a little bit this year, only playing in 24 games. But 29 points in 19 playoff games this year. The Hamilton Bulldogs went all the way to the Memorial Cup finals, lost to the St. John's Sea Dogs, unfortunately. But a lot of that wasn't the bad Mason McTavish. And his leadership has been praised for his size, his hands, his skating ability. But I think where Mason McTavish really kind of sets himself apart from everyone else on this Team Canada or in the last few drafts is that leadership factor and having the experience to go with to carry a team deep in the playoffs as a strong leader.
Well, final comment will go to our good friend David Stubbs. Bedard would look good in the blue, blanc, and rouge.
I don't think Montreal's going to finish last. I don't know if the odds will be there for them, but
I don't think they're going to.
It'd be interesting to see.
It's going to be Arizona.
Probably.
However, I could talk when I go to Winnipeg next week and we do the slap shot. We'll be in Ottawa together next, I think it's August 21st. You're going to be in net, and Zach Bell's going to school both of us. But I think the Winnipeg Jets could maybe tank. He'd look good in blue, white, and Winnipeg does have some red.
I think the Jets are too good to tank, though. But but Connor Bedard's going to end up somewhere like Arizona, and we're just not going to see him.
Yeah, you'd love to see that kid in a Canadian city.
Well, yeah. Well, actually, speaking of Arizona, do you see the 3D generated images of
it's really nice.
New Arizona ice?
Where are they going to sit? Montreal's D is going to be awful. Pride isn't there. I would think that's Price. We're going to talk about that in a little future, about what's going on with all these teams. The Montreal Canadiens, of course, Carey Price. Jordan Roche, always a pleasure being with you, doing a great job as the producer. And you're going to be live, or you're going to be producing your show tomorrow.
Yep.
The Practice Squad. What are we looking forward to?
Yeah, so we're bringing one of my good friends, Jonah Goodman, on. We're going to be talking a lot about the Denver Broncos.
Vikings?
Maybe closer to the season, but there's going to be a lot of Broncos talk. I mean, bringing in Russell Wilson. The running back situation there is a bit up in the air right now. Is this the year for Jerry Jeudy to really kind of take a big step up in his career? But we got all that. We got some predictions for end of year awards tomorrow. We got a lot coming out. Episode won't be released till Thursday, but we're recording it tomorrow.
All right. Look forward to watching it live right here. Hey, Robert Wine, we will see you next week, August 20th, 21st. You're going to be in our booth. Stop Concussions. Gouche Live will be live in Ottawa at the EV Center. We're looking forward for the National Capital Hockey Show. Make sure you check it out. All right, it's Gouche Live right here at the Bottom Line, 22 Front Street. We have had a great show. James Murphy, Gene Principe, and the producer, Jordan Roche. We're saying goodbye, and we will see you Wednesday for lunch as Gouche enjoys lunch with Gouche and Friends.
You've been listening to Gouche Live with your host, Kerry Goulet, better known as The Gouche, brought to you by the Hockey News and Sports Illustrated.